What's going on, y'all? Fort Worth Fabian, man. We back with a video. We're doing a reaction to Fox News, man. We got jaw-dropping footage of migrant Uber driver sucker punching a rider, man. We got a lot of these cases, these stories of just migrants doing wild activity. I mean, you're not even here legally, can't even fly below the radar, just doing wild, outlandish things. And I do think it could be outlash, a lot of things that are going on with ICE deportations. Maybe a lot of migrants who are still here illegally are acting out just to get deported or whatever it may be. I don't know. But you would think that if you're here illegally, you would want to kind of keep it cool. I covered the story not too long ago where the migrant who was an 18-wheeler driver had tried to bust a Yui on the highway, and the family had ran into the truck, right? So, or the 18-wheeler. So these kind of stories of just, I don't know, people doing things, and then that's how they get caught, or that's how they get found out, by committing crimes or being in an unfortunate situation. So let's go ahead and hop into the video.
Welcome back. So our next guest is suing Uber after a shocking attack, which was all caught on camera. Take a look at this. An illegal immigrant driver was seen sucker punching him in the face and knocking him out. That attack left him hospitalized with a brain injury, and he is now here to join us and tell us all about what happened here. His name is Brian Coble, and he's the CEO of TC Biofarm. Brian, thanks for coming on this morning. We're glad you're okay right now. Before we get into talking about the suspect here, just fill us in on what led up to this. There's no audio in that video, but we see the guy just get out of the car, you're holding your dog, and then he just clocks you in the face. What happened?
It was a very innocuous interaction. We had gone to get in the car, as is typical. I leaned in with the service animal to ensure that he was okay with the pet being with me. He said no pets. I said, she's a service animal. We clarified that. He objected 2 more times, at which point, which happens regularly, I told him, look, cancel the ride and we'll move on, right? I'm not here to impose that issue if he's uncomfortable. We walked around the back of the car. Next thing I know, he's out of the car in my face. I put my hand out saying, get your car, and that's it. Next thing I know, I'm on my back in the hospital.
And here's the profile on this guy, if we can pull this up. He's an illegal immigrant from Russia, 42 years old. He illegally crossed into the sanctuary state of California back in 2022. Then, as usual, was caught and released into the U.S. by the Biden administration. After he attacked you, he was arrested for second-degree assault and battery, then was released on a $10,000 bond. But he is now in ICE custody, and ICE is seeking to deport him. You found all that out after the fact. What was your reaction?
I was shocked. Uber is a $200 billion company. When you get in a car with the Uber sticker on it, it carries that brand weight. It carries the trust that you have in that brand. They imbue it into these drivers. So you would have assumed, and I had up until that date, that they do background checks. They vet these individuals, that they've got a stringent process that's difficult to evade. And apparently that's not the case. So I was taken aback, and it made me wonder, how often has this person done it? How many other times is this going to happen? And how do you change that narrative?
And it makes you wonder how many other illegal immigrants, right, are Uber drivers. Uber has no the last time I had signed up for it, and I haven't done any driving in years, had no type of real background check. Now, I'm sure they would ask for some type of ID or identification, but that can always be falsified to an extent. You would think they would have to identify themselves with some type of professional ID or substantiary ID. And if you're an illegal, obviously you can't get one, right? This is just me thinking off top.
And fix this so that it doesn't happen to somebody else.
And then I understand after this happened, Uber suspended your account while the driver was allowed to keep driving, even though you provided hospital records showing what happened. Fill us in. What did Uber do? How did
There
they
you
handle
go, right
this?
there. That says it all.
Yeah, in fact, he picks up an Uber ride about 2 minutes later after leaving me for death, effectively. So when I got out of the hospital, I realized my account had been suspended. I corresponded with Uber. I sent them the hospital records. I sent them the police report. I actually sent them the contact information for the detective who was working on the case at the time, as well as had them speak to an eyewitness, and gave them my account along with pictures of the actual injuries. About 48 to 72 hours later, Uber just deactivated my account. So it appears to me that this is sort of their MO, right? Which is put yourselves, your end users, your riders in a dangerous situation. If something bad happens, disavow any sort of liability, any responsibility, any accountability. Throw your hands up and say it's got nothing to do with us, and then vilify the victims and attack us. And that seems to be their process. And that's a very immoral way to go about your business, especially when you're a multi-billion-dollar global organization. You would think there would be a little more interest in the human side here.
And real quick, just want to tag out with what Uber is saying about all this. They say, quote, "There's no place for violence on the Uber platform. While we can't comment on pending litigation, Uber is deeply committed to safety and complies with all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations around worker eligibility." Brian, got about 10 seconds left here. Just looking for a yes or no. Have they reached out to you to talk about any potential settlement here?
Not even a little, and that'll tell you exactly what that statement that they lay out really means, right? What commitment to safety do you have if you're unwilling to speak about safety here?
Yeah. Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, he had to add that tidbit. I mean, unfortunate situation. Dude gets sucker punched. He even mentioned though that a lot of drivers have issue with him bringing his service dog, right? Rightfully so. He has a service animal, but he's experienced pushback from drivers. So, I mean, I think I would naturally have went into it aware of that. And I guess there's no way he can work around that, right? But with that being said, I think that doesn't validate, right? The guy punching him out or knocking his lights out, so to speak. So, dude from Russia, you can even tell by the way he headbutted him, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see a lot of Americans do that. Headbutt somebody in combat. Now, maybe more skilled and professional fighters will do a thing, but it's more savage, more overseas type of, fighting repertoire. So with that being said, comment down below. Let me know y'all's thoughts, man. This is very unfortunate. He's a CEO, so very prestigious person. And the fact that Uber comes after the fact, right? That's what kind of the narrative is with a lot of these big corporations, these companies. Once things are publicized, right, when the scope is on them or the spotlight is on them, then they feel like they need to address it. But even the way they handled the matter, right, it kind of shows like the immoral practices, right? They just want to keep milking the dollar. I'm gonna have my driver get right back out there on the road, man. We're making money off this guy. I'm sure dude is probably not driving now. They probably suspended his account, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. I guess they're trying to silence the CEO, more or less, not allow him to continue using their services. But whereas the driver, they wanted him to keep working and making money for them. So I don't know. Weird world we live in. But to the point I was kind of making earlier, these guys aren't laying low. They're, a lot of these illegal immigrants aren't laying low. They're doing things to where they're getting a lot of attention to themselves and naturally getting themselves deported. So that's on them, man. That's on them. But crazy world we are living in, man. Comment down below if you've had any experiences with any illegal immigrants or maybe some type of contention. A lot of them, the mentality is different. So comment down below, man. Let me know your thoughts on this. Peace, love, prosperity. God bless. We'll see you on the next video, man. We out.